Hello. I was born in England, and for the first 23 years of my life, I lived in England. But I think it was beginning of 1962, I came to Scotland. It wasn't long before I had a job, and I met a young lady, a Glasgow girl, Sarah, and we hit it off with one another. And as the year went on, I was pretty sure that maybe we'd eventually get engaged. And as the year approached its end, Sarah said to me one day, "My mum and dad have invited you to our house for Hogmanay." Hogmanay, I said. What's Hogmanay? She told me that it's on New Year's Eve. Uh, a family gathers up in the house with their aunties and uncles and children and friends and neighbours, and they wait until midnight when the bells ring, and then they all have a drink and wish one another a happy new year and sing Auld Lang Syne. And then half an hour later, 12:30, and 1:45 in the morning, they sit down to a steak pie dinner. And after that, they sit around in a group, and each of them does a turn. They sing, or say a bit of poetry, or play a musical instrument. They do a turn. And I'd have to do a turn. I said, well, that's all right. Never heard of anything. I never had anything like this in England. I said, but I can sing. I've been singing for the last couple of years for my living. She said, it'll have to be a Scots song. I said, I don't know any Scots songs. Now, that's not quite true. I did know some Scots songs. Well, I knew bits of Scots songs. One of the gigs I had was in North London, in a pub, busy pub, very crowded, big place, and most, if not all, of the patrons were Scots who were living in London. I was singing rock and roll with a wee group, and it went down very well, and everybody was pleasant, happy, and the interval came along, and I'm at the bar getting a drink, and the manager says to me, said, they'll need the Scots songs next. They'll need what? I said, they'll need the Scots songs when you start again. I said, I don't know any Scots songs. Well, they'll need the Scots songs. But do you know the first lines of any Scots songs? He said, yes. I know, I belong to Glasgow, da 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 da, and these sort of things. I've heard them. I've heard people singing them. But I don't know them. That's all right, he said. Trust me, you'll be all right. So the interval's over, and I'm back up there on the stage, and I've got the microphone, and any requests? I belong to Glasgow. I can't say that in a Glaswegian accent. I've been here for 50 years, and I still don't have a Glasgow accent. But, okay. So we start. I belong to Glasgow, and the whole pub, everybody in it joins in, raising the roof. I don't know anymore, but anyway, I'm miming away as though I'm singing along, and I'm bouncing about the stage and conducting them and applauding them, and they're all happy and they're shouting, and the song goes on and on and on and on. I think when they finish it, they just start again, and eventually it did come to an end. All right. Any more requests? The Northern Lights. knew the first line was, "The northern lights of old Aberdeen bring home." And off they went, exactly the same again. They loved it, but I loved it as well. And even the band I had loved it. They could keep up a rhythm and drum a few drum beats, and I'd jump about the stage and I'd get the microphone and walk over to somebody and hold it in front of them and let them sing over that. And the longer I was out there getting people to sing, the more they kept singing. Eventually, it tailed off and came to an end. I could do this with one or two more songs. And then I said, right, okay, I'd like to go back to the bit of rock and roll or something. We didn't actually do rock and roll. We did some of the old favourites, the ones that sing-along songs that everybody knew, and it was a great night. Everybody went away, and pardon me. One of them came up and said, "Thank, that was lovely. See you next Friday." And so I did know the first lines, but it wasn't enough to get me by at this party that was at Sarah's mum and dad's house. She said, "I'll teach you one." I said, "Yeah, okay." I said, "It'll be one that somebody else sings and they'll get in before me and I can't go and repeat it again." No, she said, "This is one that I learnt at school." She said, "And you hardly ever hear it sung nowadays. It's called The Barmaid at the Inn of Inverary." So, she taught me. It goes like this. It's a nice wee inn, the Inverary Inn. No, I've never been in a nicer inn before. There's a wee Scots lassie at the Inverary Inn. She's the sweetest lassie I adore. She's simply beautiful, the barmaid at the Inn of Inverary. On the 21st of June I'll be on my honeymoon with the barmaid at the Inn of Inverary. It was simple to learn, and that was my party piece. And that continued to be my party piece for many years after that. Sarah's now passed on, and each new year, this is the warming memory that comes back to me. It was a great time. It was a great new year. There's been some good ones since then. Nowadays, no, they're not what they used to be, and I don't worry too much, I don't care too much. But always that memory of that first Hogmanay comes back to me. I'll keep it till the day I die.